Okay, well, hello everyone. This is Recon Fox 64, and so we're gonna start this out with talking about our new playthrough we're gonna be doing. This is Baldur's Gate 3. I kind of skipped the kind of title screen. We'll get that in the next video. But because character creation can take a minute, I just wanted to kind of skip into this so we get the cutscene. We can do some of the introductions of the characters we're gonna see, stuff like that. So I just wanted to make sure this is all covered. I'm also using a new audio system. So if it's too loud or so, please do let me know in the comments below. And if it doesn't sound as good as the others, I'm gonna check, and I'll see how I like the sound. But if you guys are like, the sound's not that good, let me know, and I'll go back to the original one that I was using. Anyways, sadly, we won't be continuing Valkyr Chronicles for a minute. If you guys enjoyed that, I apologize. See, I can't find any saved data for that, so I'm gonna have to restart that series. So I do apologize for those of you who are enjoying it. Please be patient, but once I have the time, we will redo it. But in the meantime, we'll be doing Pokemon and Baldur's Gate 3. So this will be fun. But yeah. So we're playing this on balanced. I didn't do easy nor is it tactical, because I don't want a too difficult playthrough. I'd rather the playthrough to be kind of balanced. And so, as you can see, I've played this before. We will be playing a custom character, but I do want to kind of play the backstories of each of the characters we'll be allied with. These are the main characters. I don't know if the Dark Urge will appear, but these are the main characters that we'll meet in the story mode that'll befriend us and we'll have on our side. So let's start with Astorian, our rogue.
Hello, darling. Don't be shy. I promise not to bite until we've been formally introduced. My name's Astarion, and I've spent a century stalking the night, hunting for pretty morsels just like you. A man called Cazador made me what I am, kept me like a pet, forced me to do his bidding. No more. The tadpole's influence broke his dominance over me, and now I can finally pursue the one thing I've hungered for these long, dark years. Revenge. I'm going back to Baldur's Gate to track Cazador down in his lair. I'll be the last thing the bastard ever sees.
So that's Astorian. It kind of explains a lot of his backstory now, as I've already played this. I'm in a campaign with some friends, and I'm doing my solo campaign. But yeah, just do Lizelle next. Hear what her backstory is.
Since I was born in the cold reaches of world space, I have known but one purpose: to wield a silver sword and ride a red dragon in service of my regent, the Githyanki Queen Vlaakith. My first step on this path is to slay a mind flayer and bring its head to my queen. There is no flesh I will not carve, and no barrier I will not shatter to see it done. I am the one who sunders. I am the Undying Queen's most unshakable warrior. I am Lae'zel of Kalir.
So the tadpole that Astorian was talking about is the one from the beginning cutscene. If you didn't know, just to make sure. I know you're probably like, well, obviously Recon, but you're just pointing it out there. Next we have Gale, who's our wizard.
Well met, stranger. You find yourself in the presence of the renowned wizarding prodigy, Gale of Waterdeep. Please, no need to be intimidated. My virtuosic talents once caught the eye of the goddess of magic herself, Mistra, who named me her chosen, and her lover. Thanks to a slight miscalculation on my part, that relationship eventually soured, as did the greatest of my powers. Now I'm merely a humble wizard on the road to redemption. Unless I can find the path to something greater.
Okay, there's Gale. Lizelle is our fighter, Shadowheart, who's going to be our cleric.
My name is Shadowheart, loyal servant of Shah, goddess of darkness and loss. There is little more I can tell you than that. My Lady Shah tasked me with a mission of such secrecy that I surrendered great swathes of my memory in order to safeguard the knowledge of it. All I know is that I must bring the artifact I hold to Baldur's Gate, and that nothing can stand in my way. My goddess is watching.
So that explains a lot of her dialogue. Once we get her, you'll see. But yeah, my friends like to always, when they say it, they're like, why is she wielding a D20? I like the little reference they did. Next up is Will, who's going to be a warlock.
7 years ago, I was exiled from Baldur's Gate, the city I call home. My name is Will, but the people of the Sword Coast call me the Blade of Frontiers, champion of the meek, defender of the innocent. The truth isn't quite so simple, but they're right about one thing. I hunt monsters, and I always catch my prey. My latest target is a devil, and I'm right on her tail. Once I'm through with her, she'll never escape the fires of the first hell.
There's that. Next up is Karlak, who is going to be a barbarian. Our barbarian.
Years ago, I was sold to the Archdevil Zariel. She put a Hellfire engine in my chest and made me her prize soldier. But I've escaped now. Thank you, Mind Flayers. And I've got a few scores to settle. If this engine doesn't burn me to ash first, I'll need people I can trust. An infernal mechanic, and a serious amount of luck. But you know what? I'm not worried. After 10 years in the Hells, I can take on anything. I've got my chance at freedom, and believe me, I'm going home.
I'm learning so much by watching these with you guys, because I have some people in my party. And then last one, you can fully customize this one, so if you don't want to be just custom, you know, like I'm going to do, you can always pick this and still kind of be like a main character. But from what I've seen from my friend who picked him, he does some things that are very violent.
My rancid blood whispers to me, kill, kill, and kill again. My ruined body yearns to reap death in this world. And when this foul urge calls, it possesses my whole being. Injured beyond repair. I know nothing besides this. I must resist the dark urge, lest it consume my mind. I must discover who I was, and what happened to me, before my twitching knife hand writes a tragedy in blood.
So he seems to be a sorcerer, but you can change that. Alright, so we're going to make our custom character. And like the different backstories we just saw, I do have a backstory for her. We are going to be playing as a female in this playthrough. And as you can see, we have different race. We have elves. And you can see the different racial features they get. All this. So I'll kind of talk more about the different races and classes when we choose them. But for now, we're going to be playing as Tiefling, which are some of my favorite races. It's, I think, my second favorite race, with half elf beating it out slightly. Tieflings are really cool because they get things like hellish resistance, so fire doesn't really hurt them. They get dark vision, and so they get a good movement. But see, Tiefling, descended from the devils of the nine hells, Tieflings face constant suspicion in Faerun. Thankfully, their arcane abilities make them natural survivors. Yeah, so Tieflings are kind of born when a demon or a devil mixes with a human, and it doesn't always turn out pretty. So, bound to the net. So this is Asmodeus Tiefling. So each race has a sub-race, with Tieflings having 3 in this game. In traditional D&D, there's much more. So bound to the Nessos, the deepest layer of the Hells, the Tieflings inherited the ability to wield fire. These Tieflings inherited the ability to wield fire and darkness from the archdevil Asmodeus' infernal bloodline. Mistopheles, so descended from the archdevil Mistopheles, these Tieflings are gifted with particular affinity for the arcane magic. And lastly, Zariel Tieflings, who's from Karlach's backstory. Tieflings from Zariel's bloodlines are empowered with martial strength and can channel searing flames to punish their enemies. We're going to go with the Asmodeus bloodline, because I like this cantrip, because we can do 3 attacks in a round, or 2 attacks in a spell. So, produce flame. Conjuration, cantrip. Conjuration is the type of magic. There's many different magics. A flame in your hand shields a light in a 9-meter radius and deals 1 to 8 fire damage when thrown. Throwing the flame immediately after you conjure it does not cost an action. Extinguishing or throwing it on a subsequent turn costs an action. So that gives us an additional thing that we can use, which I love. And like with the races, I'm going to talk more about each of these classes when we pick them. But for now, I'll kind of give you a category of my favorites. So Monk, Paladin, and Warlock are my top 3. Next, I'd say Cleric, Fighter, and Druid. Then Barbarian, Wizard, and Sorcerer. And my least 3 favorite, and then Druid. My least favorite 2 are Rogue and Ranger, but I've never played them. So that's going to be fun. Warlocks are backline damage dealers. So if you don't know that, in D&D, you have front lines and back lines. Front lines are the ones who go up and aggro the enemies to keep their attention on them. And then the back line either supports or deals damage. As a Warlock, you can kind of do both with spells, but I play Warlocks as a DPS because this cantrip right here is one of the most powerful cantrips in the game. So, Eldritch Blast. This is invocation magic. It does 1 to 10 damage, and it's force, which is not many creatures in D&D are resistant to force, so it's a very powerful ability. So we conjure 1 beam of crackling energy, which expands to 2, I believe, when you turn level 5. And then Blade Ward we're going to get rid of, but it's an aberration, and you take only half the damage from bludgeoning, piercing, slashing. It sounds good, but at the same time, I don't think I'm going to be in the fight too much. And then we gain Warlock spell slots. So we're going to get rid of this, but the different cantrips are Bone Chill. It's a necromancy cantrip. Prevents the target from healing until your next turn. An undead target receives disadvantage on attack rolls. Next up, we have Friends. It's an enchantment cantrip. Gain advantage on charisma checks against a non-hostile creature in higher difficulty modes. The target might accuse you of chanting them, so that you got to be careful with this. I don't know if they're going to do it with this, but we'll come there. We'll get there when we get there. We've already talked about Mage Hand. Minor Illusion, you can create illusion. and it'll make other creatures investigate. Good for a stealthy playthrough. Poison spray, another damaging. You do a poison damage, which is pretty high, but this is better, trust me. And then True Mark, gain advantage on your next roll, so this is good. Good for like certain things. I'm gonna do friends. I think this will help us in the long run with story. Also, so just before I forget, we will be playing as a female, and you can have two classes: the tall female and male, or the kind of low built, which our character is going to be. So the Fiend, this is one of our subclasses. So warlocks have a pact with something that gives them their magic, and so these are the packs we can get in this game. There's more packs in traditional D&D. Fiend, warlocks in service to fiends work towards corrupting destructive ends intentionally or otherwise, and receive hellish blessing in turn. And the spells, we can change them, they don't matter, but the subclass feature, so when we reduce an enemy to 0, we get 4 temporary hit points. I don't know if this stacks, but that's pretty good. Warlocks, bound to eldritch beings in the far realm towards the inscrutable joys, work towards inscrutable goals, gaining strange powers over entropy and the mind. Entropy is disorganization or kind of decay. So, mortal reminder, when you land a critical hit against a creature, the creature and any nearby enemy must succeed a wisdom saving throw or become frightened to the next turn. Lastly, the Archfey, graced by a lady or lord of the Fey, you are imbued with all the scrumptious and scary qualities of your patron's extraordinarily realm. Fey presence, charm or frighten nearby foes with the Fey's begrudgingly disturbing magics. We're gonna go Fiend because it's part of the backstory I have for this character. But I'd recommend if you you guys get this game, try anyone. Like the Fiend, I would say each of these can work if you know how to play around them and you just give it a shot. So we have Armor of Agathis. It's an aberration spell, and it gives us 5 temporary hit points and deals 5 cold damage to anyone who hits us. Arms of Hadar. Prevent targets from using reactions, and basically a bunch of arms sprout from us and attack anyone who comes near, and it's conjuration. Burning Hands' evocation is fire damage. Charm Person, it's an enchantment, but as the spell states, you charm a humanoid to prevent it from attacking you. You gain advantage on it during charisma checks and dialogue. That's why we have friends. So we'll do that. Command, you can cause a creature to flee, move, freeze, drop to the ground, or drop its weapon. That's pretty good. Expeditious Retreat, you gain the dash immediately, and and then you can leave. So this is a good spell if you're in trouble. Hellish Rebuke, this is a good spell because when someone hits you, you can rebuke back. I'm gonna take it. Hex, it's an enchantment. This was an invocation. Basically, use a bonus action to cast it on a enemy, and then you can deal an additional 1d6 necrotic damage to that enemy. Protection from good and evil. I don't really think this is going to work, but it protects all the allies from attacks and powers of all those. But I don't think we'll be fighting them too much in the beginning. And then Witch Bolt, which is one I normally take, but I'm going to take Hellish Rebuke, so if we do get hit, we can deal damage. Link yourself to a target with a bolt of lightning. Deal additional 1d12 damage each turn by activating. Each of these spells will gain more damage as you cast them at a higher level, but because we're only level 1, that's where we're stuck. Alright, so I'll read these real quick. I have a backstory in mind, so the background is going to be chosen, but I'll do everything but our background, and then I'll click it. So, you have spent your life in the service of the temple, learning sacred rituals and providing sacrifices to your god or gods of worship. Serving the gods and discovering their sacred works will guide you to greatness. So you inspire, you give insight in religion. So it's in your experiment relation, prone to exaggeration and more than happy to profit from it. Bending the truth and turning allies against each other will lead to greater success down the road. It's for the more evil life feels, so deception is not a hand. Criminal. You have a history of breaking the law and survived by leveraging less than legal connections. Profiting for criminal exploit will lead to greater opportunities in the future. Deception and stealth. Entertainer, you live to sway and subvert your audience, engaging common crowds and high society alike, preserving art and bringing joy to the hapless and downtrodden heights in your charismatic aura. And so, acrobatics and performance for that one. Folk hero, you're a champion of the common people, challenging tyrants and monsters to protect the helpless, saving innocent in intermediate danger will make your legend grow. Animal handling and survival. Guild artisan, your skill in a particular craft has earned you membership in a mercantile guild. Offering privilege and protection while engaging in your art, repairing and discovering rare crafts will bring you new inspirations. Noble, you're raised in a family among the social elite, accustomed to power and privilege. Accumulating renowned power and loyalty will raise your status. Outlander, you grow up in the wilds, learning to survive far from the comforts of civilization. Surviving unusual hazards of the wild will enhance your prowess and understanding. Urchin, after surviving a poor and bleak childhood, you know how to make the most of very little, using your street smarts, bolstering your spirit for the journey ahead. Sleight of hand and stealth. And then soldier, you trained in battlefield tactics and combat, having served in militia, mercenary company, or officer corps. Showing smart tactics and bravery on the battlefield will enhance your prowess. And the one we're going to choose, sage, you're curious and well learned, with an unending thirst for knowledge. Learning about rare lore of the world will inspire you to put this knowledge to greater purpose, gaining the skills of arcana and history. So, each class has a preferred stat. Warlock's its charisma, and I like to max out that stat. So I'm going to do 16 because when you have an odd number in D&D, it like, it's not the worst, but it makes sometimes leveling up harder. Next, I make dexterity high because it gives us more armor class as you, I wish I could show you. Does it show? So you have a 13. Well, when I apply this, it'll go up, so we'll be less likely to be hit. Constitution is what I do next, because as a spellcaster, this helps you like maintain spells. Then I do intelligence and wisdom, because as a spellcaster, you're not really going to be heavy lifting things. We'll save that to our colleagues. So I do not want intimidation. I'm going to take investigation, because it collides to the backstory of our character, who I just said the name, but you'll learn. Now we're going to edit her appearance. I'm going to use this face for her. And I like voice 4.
What was
but
that?
we'll go through each voice.
Hells. Something just woke up down here.
Beware.
It's opened. I wonder what's back there.
More.
There's magic keeping this chest sealed.
Where to?
What was that?
Beware.
It's opened.
So voice 4 is my
I wonder what's
favorite.
back there.
I'm going to apply all skin tones because Volca is actually blue in coloration, not red. So while she is part of Asmodeus's lineage, she is not red in color. And she does have this scar from a battle she was in. This I'm not going to do. You can do this. Hide clothes makes it to where nudity is shown. And so this you can choose if you have guy bits or girl bits. I'm not going to go into that. We'll just use the general. So these tattoos are cool. The ones that I'm going to do for Volca for her backstory are these. They have special meaning. And they are a deep gray, which they look like part of her skin almost, but you can tell just faintly if you look close that they are not. And I don't think she'd have any piercings, but we'll check them out. Yeah, I don't think she'd have any piercings. Oh, maybe the bard rings. I know they're for bards, but this would, yeah, I like that on her. Yeah. We're gonna go to eyes. Volca has demonic eyes, so demonic blue. Yeah, I like the deeper blue, the teal. She does wear this makeup, but her makeup is more, she wants her eyes to be pronounced, so she more wears something like this. She wants her eyes to draw you in, as in her opinion, it's the best way to tell how honest you are. So the hairstyles, I like, so let's check. We can do that. Oh, that's it. I like this hairstyle. I didn't mean to go up. Yeah, I think we're gonna go with the nice short bob cut. So, Volca's hair. Her hair is actually... Where's gray? Let's check. Her hair is a gray in color due to something happening to her when she was younger. Well, not younger per se, what happens when she bonds with her pact. You can put facial hair on them. I'm not, because we're going to give that, and I like to do black because to me her horns are very like dark. They're supposed to be, but the game makes them lighter than it is, but I'm not opposed to having them this color. And so this will be her horns. And then we're gonna proceed, and her name is Volca Morning Star. So this is kind of a play on Lucifer Morning Star. He's named after the devil in Christianity. Gets his name after the weapon Morning Star, and so her name is kind of tied to her backstory, which I'm going to get into right now. So, I plan on playing this game multiple times, but let's get into it. So, long ago in Faerun, there was a man who fell in love with a random woman on the streets. He was charmed by her beauty, her sense of spirit, her humor, everything about her just drew him in. And he decided to court her, going through the normal ways that Faerun's court, and in the end they decided to get married and have a child. Not wanting their child to be a subject to the city, they agreed to move to a smaller village to allow them to kind of explore the wilds and get a feeling of what they would want. Upon laying with his new wife, the man found something off, as she ran hotter than what you would perceive a normal humanoid to be, but assume this to be the passion they were having during the making of Volca. Once Volca was born, however, he was shocked to see, instead of a human, as her father is human, instead a child who had horns growing outside her head and eyes that seemed to glow and give the essence of something demonic in origin, only to look to see the woman he courted and married to be a demon who had tricked him into getting a half-human, half-demonic daughter. Upon realizing she was a demon, he went to get the guards and dispose of the two, but she stopped him, being a relatively powerful demon, not the highest caliber, but enough to warrant him worry, and told him that should he get the guards, he will cease to exist, and that his purpose now is to raise their daughter to be a worthy vessel for her. So for a few years, he does raise Volca until she's about 8. Her not knowing that her father hates her nor where her mother is, Volca grows up with a pretty normal childhood, many people staring and treating her differently, but in the end, she does get some friends. That changes when her father is fed up of this. He really doesn't want a daughter who looks like her because he didn't want this in the first place. Him and the village kicked Volka out and warned her to she ever returns, she will be condemned to death. So Volka leaves the village, gaining an innate fear of many humanoid races. So humans, dwarves, races like that really have Volka kind of terrified and wary of them. But as she gets older, she will kind of subjugate. But as she's a child, the one race she kind of connects with the most are the elves and half-elves, because she is rescued by an elven family where there are sages in the wild, and so they take her in and show her their craft of researching the wild, learning how to do things, and Volka falls in love with it, loving innate knowledge and everything about it, from magic to random facts and history. So with this, Volka carries out her life growing up in the company, learning more about the world and how not every race will treat her differently because of her demonic heritage. Still wary of people, but not to the point of unaccepting. More of wanting to see that they are trustworthy first than immediately latching onto them. So one day while researching, she learns that you can gain magic if you're not gifted like a sorcerer, a wizard, or a bard. You can gain magic through another means by making a pact with an otherworldly being. Due to her heritage, she decides to contact a demon and ends up contacting her mother unknowingly, not knowing this was what her mother wanted all along. Her mother, pleased with this, makes some deals with Volka. The first being that she will aid Volka in her search to gain all the knowledge of the world and to kind of do this without like precedent. Volka makes a deal that she has no qualms in stealing, killing, stuff like that, but she would rather not do it to those who are those who don't deserve it. If she has to, she'll do it, but she would prefer to keep her hands to herself and not get involved in anything. And lastly, her mother makes the deal that should Volka fail in her quest of knowledge or ever get tired or stray from these deals, that Volka will attack and wreak havoc across this world for her. And so, with those in mind, Volka agrees and meets up with a wide variety of people in a party. This party will be viewed more if I do continue this, because there'll be the other characters I play with each class. If you guys are interested in that, let me know. But Volka decides to team up with these adventurers who have a thirst of knowledge and everything, and so they go on many adventures. Sadly, while on one adventure, they encounter the Mind Flare ship, and in this playthrough, Volka is the one who doesn't get away and is now infected with the Mind Flare tadpole. Now we'll proceed, but that is Volka's backstory. And so Volka's guardian is going to be a half-elf because the first person she connected with, I'll do this, in the new party was an half-elf. I have an idea of what she looks like. Yeah. I don't think she'll have blemishes. I think more of a neutral tone. She would have this as a tattoo, and it'd be colored, I think, green. I like that green. Okay, there we go. Piercings, I would say she would have just ear piercings like that. She'd have deep blue eyes. No makeup. Her hair. I think her hair would be there we go. This would be her hair, and it would be blonde. She has no facial hair, but this will be our guardian for this playthrough. Alrighty, now we just venture forth on our journey. So, these are mind flayers, for those of you who don't know. They are in D&D lore, as they're more evil than good in the lore. And as I'm sure many of you can tell, they're based off of Lovecraftian mythology. So Lovecraftian mythology is things like Cthulhu and stuff like that. And if you have not seen this cutscene, oh, it's so cool. Just seeing the way he has to climb to go ring the bell, you feel so bad for him. Because there's no way he's going to get up there to ring the bell in time. Now, I don't know if this was inspired by Infinity Ward because they're being dusted. I know this game was made before that, but I like, if you guys find something out, let me know. And then, oh, this part's so cool because I'm a big fan of dragons. And so, like, watching this for the first time when I bought this on early access, I was just like, there's freaking dragons in this game. I love dragons, man. These are, so those of you new to D&D, those dragons have different colors. There are those who are chromatic and those who are metallic. So chromatic have the colors like blue, red, green. And metallic's more silver, gold, bronze. And so these are red dragons, and they are mainly fire ability. Their main ability is fire. And then this part is cool. Like, I didn't know, when I first saw this, it was like, not only can you do that, I don't know if this is just a Baldur's Gate video game only thing, but if it can teleport like that, that's such a freaking cool shit. And so I didn't know Githyanki, which is what those green guys are, rogue dragons until this game. Like, as I told my friends when we were doing our campaign where I play a paladin, I'm just constantly amazed by the different, like, things I learned from it. And we wound up in one of the 9 hells. And so yeah, there are 9 hells in D&D lore, with each hell having different demons. I don't quite know what hell Volka's mom would be from, because I would say she's a fire demon, so she's probably from this hell, but now we awaken. See, like, it shows them being darker in the character creation, but they're actually quite light. And one thing I wish they did, I love this game, but some things I wish they did is like,
My head.
let me get this through because I know she's gonna, the narrator's gonna talk.
The parasite now writhing behind your eye.
See how we do with investigation checks. Oh, that is a critical fail. So we don't know.
You notice nothing more than meets the eye.
Alrighty. Well, let's just reach towards it. Volka would be interested. Oh, it exploded. So I knew it was going to do that. I've played this game before, but I'm going to be playing these characters as if they're exploring this for the first time. But I wish they kind of like, so some things is, I wish they gave you the ability to customize the tiefling tails, because not all tiefling tails are the same. So I think it would be cool if we could like make it a spade rather than just like a half arrow or more of an arrow tip. I wish we could do some of that. And then for like things like the warlocks, I wish we could customize our packs, because then we could like, you know, they could appear in the game more, and I don't think the packs do. And then, you know, it would give reason to let them appear. But all in all, this is a great game. This is just some of my like wants. So if somehow devs are listening to this, that's not a critique. It's just like something cool I wish you guys could have done. I know you guys have spent so long on this, and it's just so cool. And I didn't care about jumping down because we can heal, but I like doing this. So this is what Eldritch Blast looks like. Oh, come on. No. Can I not see that? Hang on. Okay. Now we can see it. Now we can do this. So this is cool. I did not mean to stand at that. We'll heal again. Through that word. I never thought I would ever say that, but I have. We're gonna go to this wardstone and learn stuff.
Images of goblins, their habits and histories flash into your mind. A schematic of a nautiloid flashes into your mind. Nerves, sinews, as much living being as ship.
Yeah, so the nautiloid Wallace ship is living. Okay, well that's not gonna tell me anything. Let's go learn this.
1,000 years of humanoid history. Elves, dwarves, humans, and more flash behind your eyes.
So as I've said, Volka is very curious. So Volka's like is gonna constantly like go to stuff like this. She is a scholar by trade, but one who's not afraid to protect herself. And so depending, so I'm gonna save right here. This will be our first save. As you can see, I have a local Morningstar and another. So this is the kind of character I carried over from my playthrough, but because with this one, I can make all her party members. If you guys do like this, and I'm able to continue this. School is starting up soon, so I won't be able to release much video, sadly.
From this place, you'll free us.
The exposed brain quivers in expectation.
Okay.
Please. Before they return. They return. A newborn. Born new from this husk.
Come on.
You realize you're talking to an intellect devourer, a minion of the mind flayers who abducted you.
Just tell Volka is not a. So Volka knowing that would destroy the brain. So, I'm hoping YouTube is okay with this stuff. If not, I will be sure to change it. But yeah, Volka, like you can get that as a friend, but Volka wouldn't do that because she's researched a lot about these creatures. And in D&D, these like mind flayers and the insect devourers and all this are very dangerous. So she would not take chances to release one because she'd be afraid it would kill her before it would do something. About to get our Geth Yankee friend on our side, I think.
visions rush past. A dragon's wing, a silver sword, and a flash of your face seen through the strange woman's eyes.
My head. What is this? Skvar, you are no thrall. Vlaakith blesses me this day. Together, we might survive. Who am I? Your only chance of survival. We carry mind flayer parasites. Unless we escape. Unless we are
Oh,
cleansed.
I should. My bad. I should be voicing these those words. Sorry.
In days we will be Geich. Mind flayers.
Let's see. We're turning into mind flayers. There must be something we can do. We need to figure it out while we're here. Where we are. What do you suggest? So she would not say that because she'd be like, yeah, but of course she's like, what do you suggest?
First, we exterminate the imps. Then we find the helm and take control of the ship. We will address the matter of a cure for this infection once we reach the material plane.
So I think I'm gonna end this video after this combat because it's getting pretty long. But we're gonna see combat. Okay. So we're fighting imps. And look at that. Minus 17. Your guys' initiative suck. Let's cast Hex on the one in the back. So this is gonna give us additional damage. Watch this. And this is how's your blast? Boom. So as always, she's gonna back up. She is not a melee fighter. Now Lizelle is different. And I'm gonna have her move. Okay. So let's reapply our hex. Let's do this.
You proved surprisingly adequate in battle. Now, to the helm.
So we're gonna loot real quick, but yeah, this is Baldur's Gate 3. I hope you guys are enjoying this as I am. I am a big D&D fan. Some friends got me into it during the pandemic, and I've just fallen in love with the lore and everything since. So I'm excited to go on this journey with you guys. Please drop a like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. It helps me understand. It helps me know if what I'm doing is working and if I do need to change things. Please do let me know if I need to do a different audio thing, as this is my first time. Well, not my first time, but I'm trying to use. Okay, she was speaking. I'm trying a new audio new audio service. So let me know if it works or if it doesn't for you guys. And yeah. Thank you all for watching. I hope you all have a great night, day, afternoon, wherever you're at. And this is Recon Fox 64 signing off.